working or jobs, the high level jobs, you know. And it's the main idea of the day. So to opening, I propose to two of our near companies that we are working in this direction to share with us their projects and their position or their proposition. Maybe they are not very happy with the model that we are building, but why not to hear their proposals to change, and always seeking for the sustainability of the partners. For this reason, I am I don't know which of this sun will illuminate our path, but we need at least one. If we find a lot, much better. This talk is an invitation to participate and to do your contribution to find together. And in the corridors and in the tables, I say to excuse me, the cameraman is a little bit crazy with the speaker. About that in the Colombian case, we have another challenge, is to find these models without an essential role of the government agencies. Because the instability of the action of the government agencies here is from my personal point of view, is one of the big risks that we are in front every day. So we are seeking to the models that we should have the master of our agenda, the master of our roadmap in our research teams, seeing this local ecosystem with the global partners too, and always with the door open for the government agencies and for the government support, national and international, but with our agenda that we can survive without this always welcome support, but not depending on this always welcome support. I have now the confirmation of our director of Conciencias that is maybe is coming at the end of the morning, but maybe not. Because no, it has a good volunteer, but life is hard, it has a very heavy agenda, and so on. And not a lot of money, look, it's very difficult to speak only with the volunteer, without money. Because they had more or less 10 times less budget than 10 years ago. Life is hard for the director too, for the new director. Okay, with following our traditional protocol, I will invite IMEX HS with the Gringoles pronunciation of your IMEX HS? No, H. You are the institution. Oh, I know that IMEX HS. No, in English,
in English,
they enter
in Australia.
3 weeks ago. They entered in the Australian stock market.
Stock market, yeah.
And which is the pronunciation in Australia?
IMXHS, yeah.
I spoke that you will share with us this kind of growing course in order to share with us their profits. We hope. Mario Baron, that is the founder of co-founder of a new spin-off from our team. He is coming. He sent me a message that, of course, in Bogota he's in a traffic jam. It's dramatic. He's arriving. It's another scale. Is in the very starting early stage of development, and the needs and the proposal will be different. For this reason that I invite him today. No ha llegado. Huh? Triana is here. We can ask him.
Sure. You can present.
Yes. We have imagine.
El audio por acá.
In order to enter, to find one role in this system. I'm happy they have maybe a big check in yesterday that the CIO of Accenture should go to Medellin yesterday night. Special contact. So I am expecting something, but they are not with us. Because it's another point of view too. It was my idea.
So good morning, everyone. I don't know if this is on. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tiberio, for inviting us. I think this collaboration for us is really, really important. So we are imaging experts on healthcare services, and I'm going to talk about, my name is Alejandra, and I'm working with the research area in the company. And yeah, so we're going to show you some of the projects that we're working on right now and how we are collaborating with Uniandes to have this support from the academy. So what do? We are a company that we have a software for radiology services, and we have something called RIS and PACS, which is Radiology Information Systems and Picture Archiving and Communication Systems. So the whole idea of the product is that you can have information from the beginning of when you're taking a CT for a patient, from the beginning of setting up the schedule of the moment when he has to go to the hospital, then take the exam, take the CT images, save them in a special server for the user, and then have them the access for the radiologist to interpret and to look at the radiology images. So one thing that has been important for us, or what makes us different in the market, is that we provide a web architecture. So one of our most important tools is a web viewer, so radiologists can actually see the images they are trying to interpret in their web browser. So this is one of the important things we have. And this opens the possibility for having remote access and access from different platforms. And this is very important for us because it's one of the main, I think, added values that we give to these type of systems. So some of the projects that I'm going to talk about. So we're right now having a partnership with Uniandes, and we're also trying to, yeah, broaden a bit our spectrum of what can we offer in terms of healthcare services. Right now, I'm going to mainly talk about medical images in radiology and neurology, but we also have projects in with images in pathology, and we want to open also the market for cardiology. So just so you know, we are like really trying to have a broader spectrum of products. And yeah, so two of the parts that I'm going to talk about are web-based visualization tools and measurements on the medical images. So this is related to the web viewer that I was telling you about. And the other one is a project that is more academical, and it started because our CTO did his PhD with Imagine in the group with Tiberio, and this was the product of his PhD. So we wanna again retake this project and try to make a second version. I'm gonna talk about it further. So this is one of the tools that we developed recently for the web. For the web viewer. I want to show you. So this is how our viewer looks like. This is like the main view of the images, and I'm gonna reload it so you can see a little bit. One second. Security first. Yeah. So these are the two tools I'm gonna tell you about. One is called NPR. And this tool, basically what it does is that it takes the actual planes that are normally exported in an image, and it builds the other views, so the sagittal and the axial view of the images. So one nice thing I think that it's important is that you can navigate the image as it loads. So the most difficult part here in terms of resources is that we are asking from the server these images, and they take a while to load. So for radiologists, it's really important to have immediate access to whatever has been already loaded, so they can already look at the images. So as you can see, for this application, it's very important. These images they are saved in the DICOM standard, and they have the metadata of the images. That means we have the system, the reference system, and the coordinates of where each of the pixels are, and this allows us to navigate the image in all of the different planes. So this is one of the examples. And another of the tools that we recently implemented in our web viewer, it's called maximum intensity projection. And basically how it works is, I'm gonna come back here, is that you take a slice of the volume, and then this slice of the volume of the images that you're taking, you project the highest intensity value of the pixels that are in this section that you selected. This is useful mainly to see structures that are not seen easily in one slice, for example, arteries and veins, so you can more or less understand how is the path, but this is not like a representation of a position in the image. It's just a projection of one slice, of one part of the volume of the image. So yeah, you can here slice or move where you are doing the selection of the volume. And you can change if you're doing the maximum or the minimum. It's taking a while. Or the average of the pixels that you're selecting in this application. Of course, you can change the view and perform the same type of operation with the images. So these were two projects that we started with Catalina when I started in the company. And also some projects that were done before we started, and this is very important because it was in collaboration with Imagine and also with Kaiserslautern University. Well, the idea was to do a web volume rendering demo, and to build from these actual images, also to have the construction of the volumes and a visual 3D representation of how it looks like. And this is one of the results of these projects. So this is not it's still integrated with our product. It still needs some work, but the important part is that we are looking towards that, and we want to provide better tools for visualization of radiologists. Another project that we are starting right now, it's about data analysis of measurements on medical images. And this project also, we started with Tiberio talking with a company that's called AHMedNet, and they do clinical trials. They have a support for clinical trials. And for them, it's really important to store the information on the annotations that radiologists or someone who looks at the radiology, what they do. And we also realized that having this information is really important, not only for storing the annotations, but later for image post-processing and for doing medical image analysis, even machine learning for identifying whatever radiologists are annotating is super important, and we think is one of the directions that we want to move towards. And finally, I'm going to talk about Bravis. So Bravis was the result of Diego's PhD thesis. And it's a really, I think it's a very beautiful project because it integrates many of the things that are used in neuroimaging. So the problem with neuroimaging is that it has very many different formats because we have different modalities. So we have MR, CT, well, different tools. And integrating these for research is really difficult. So it takes a lot of time. So the main idea of this platform was to give up, to have an architecture where you can integrate all of these tools and create applications to navigate these images. Well, something also important is that you can do cohort analysis. So normally when you look at these images, you focus on one subject, but trying to look at or comparing neurological structures for many different subjects, it's a challenge still. I mean, the quantity of data that you have to process and to analyze, something comparing different subjects, it's really challenging. And I think this project was trying to address this. So we applied for a Colciencias grant together with Tiberio and with Imagine. And the main idea was to make the second version of Bravis to address some of the problems that it had, because it was used by 2 radiologists or maybe a little bit more, but the project wasn't really scalable, and it's a really good idea. So we wanted to understand why, or how could we make it more scalable and usable. So the first thing that we found was that inputting the images in the software was a little bit difficult. Also, the pre-processing pipeline of converting all of these formats to one standard format that can be read by the software was a little bit also difficult. So our first focus was to improve scalability and usability by integrating some of the neuroimaging pre-processing pipelines. And in terms of data analysis, we also want to include newer analyses that are being used right now, such as resting state fMRI or connectomes, that is a type of visualization, and to integrate this to also increase the usability of the software. So this is a project, I think today they tell us if we finally get the funding, but we are in the pre-selected list, so we will see. But it's a very interesting project. And that's it. I think for us, the collaboration between industry and academy is really important. I think in Colombia, we need more companies that do this, that try to invest in research, in developing new products and services. And I think for this, I mean, some of the strategies that we have been using is to do partnerships together with Uniandes for grants, where we are involving 2 master students for the Bravis project. We want to do maybe traineeships, and also to have networks for international collaborations is also, I think, one of the strategies that fosters this collaboration. So that's it. Thank you very much. Questions?
About the focus of the Bravis
Uh-huh. The main purpose is to provide the researchers or also physicians with a tool where they can integrate many different modalities that are used or image formats that are used to understand or to look at neurology uh, neurology images. So for example, I'm going to show here. So this is the architecture of the software, and then these project files, each one of them is a different type of format that is used, for example, CT or MRI, and then integrating this, or also tractography, integrating this in one platform where you can view all of them and compare what happens with one structure while you are seeing also something different. Trying to integrate all of this is, I mean, you can do it, but it takes a lot of effort. So it's facilitating this integration of different formats that are used in neurology to one platform. And also, I think the main purpose is to provide a tool for analysis of this data. So there you can not only can have the images, but you can also have a database with your clinical data. You can also have, in the project that they were working with, they had demographic data, all of these variables that come together with a project, and then they integrated it with the neurological images. So you could, for example, have a plot of a graph where you were having something related to a neurological image and then demographics on the other side. So like really trying to help the researcher to integrate all of this information. That's, I think,
I saw in your project you have too much metadata and too much information from image and whatever. And a very, very big database of images. I think that the next step that you have to go is understand that image and don't use the medical experience to detect anomalies or problems in the image problem. For example, it's something like go to IKEA and try to find what is the different patterns that have the image and make something more detailed that try to understand what happened, not the radiology, not the neurosurgeon. Only the machine has to learn to interpret data.
I think one of our focus for the future, or what we want to focus, is artificial intelligence, but I think we are very careful with this replacing the radiologist topic, because I think, well, first, ethically, I mean, the responsibility that this has is really huge. I mean, you're dealing with human lives. And I think the way we really like to see it is these are tools to support this decision. So as much as you can give advices and recommendations and, to provide support to the decision, we are forwards with that. But I think replacing, it's a really dangerous approach, I would say, for now. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, in the Ravis context, one of the challenges to manage and to analyze the big set of subjects, the cohorts of subjects, and how to compare the different kinds of information of this subject. For example, to take the MRI and the fMRI of 100 subjects and find some similarities. So, what do you think in the company about the potentialities of the commercial use of this kind of maybe sophisticated tools, but not necessarily very clinical oriented in the first utilization of the tools? Why do you think that it is why to invest some money in there?
Yeah. Well, I think in the development of the tool, we learn a lot. I think also the technical details of implementing these are also really useful for us. But we were talking, I think, yeah, 2 weeks ago with a surgeon, a neurosurgeon, and we were showing him Bravis, and he was telling us that it would be really useful for him for planning surgeries. I mean, in just being able to visualize this type of images for him would be really useful. So at first, like what pops into my mind would be this. Yeah, for surgery, neurosurgery planning. But yeah, maybe there are other.
Another question.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the added value to use virtual or augmented reality in the different, for example, you have almost the volume rendering features, almost, and do you in the road plan of the company the introduction of virtual reality or augmented reality in the near future have some sense in the use that you have in the market?
Well, right now, I see. I mean, we are not having it as a near future application, but it could be useful. Uh, I don't know. In my personal view, I think for teaching and for academics also would be really useful. Also, this like surgery planning, if we are able to integrate this, it would be very interesting. Um, but I would say we have to manage our resources to, I mean, we can't spread without knowing it, because right now I see it as something a bit uncertain if they would use it or not. So yeah, we would have to evaluate it. I'm not sure, but it's a possibility.
But only to provocate one comment from the side, the, the, the relationship with other companies that we are facilitated in the past with Kaiserslautern or for example, the Kaiserslautern a German company, or with the IG Internet, uh, is, is, which is the role in the company mind, because uh, with my academic affairs, I am a romantic man. So it's very nice to do this kind of relationship, but in the Australian stock market point of view, which is the added value, and we have some role to play. And for example, in the Paris research uh, stage, we had a very nice and very useful collaboration with the Iowa State team of Jim Oliver that should come for this day, but for other reasons we can't come this week. But why to what is your mind on how to invest some efforts to to reinforce this kind of relationship and how to get some added values there using the different components that, for example, Diego know almost very well.
Yeah. Um, it's so difficult, but I would say I think for me the just the fact that the company is willing to have invest some potential in research, it's important. But then once we are there, like we need support from other institutions, because alone we really can't accomplish everything that we would if we have more collaborations. So I would say it's important because we can yeah, we can make a stronger our research group by making these alliances and maybe understanding which products we can go further with the support. Yeah, I think the main value is just support for these research activities. And once you have this support, then the company is willing to invest more, and then they see the value of, okay, this can help us with new products, this can help us with more different services that we didn't think of, and then we can grow more. So I would say it's just support for the.
And my very last question.
Yeah.
The size of your company and the prediction in the next year.
We're right now, I think there's like 60 people in Colombia. Some are in Medellin, and most of us are here. And the projections, I think Diego knows more. No, I would say the stock market entrance in Australia was really good. I mean, this gave some stability to the company. And I didn't have, I don't know what else would you like. That's it. We are hiring if anyone is interested.
What about you development part? How many units more or less do you have?
So the company has a development group, which is like maybe 15 people. And we are in the, like doing specifically new development, like the part of research, we are 3 people, 3 to 4 people. Yeah.
Why Australia?
I think that the owners have connections there. That's the reason. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes.
The name is ImagineX. ImagineX. And well, he will share with us the first step, the first success of the first other things that some success, and the expectation about the collaboration with the research team as it was.
Well, good morning. My name is Mario. I didn't know that the pitch was to be done in English, so I was not prepared, but I will try to. Yes, I will try to do my best here. Okay, so who are we? ImagineX, a Colombian startup in the early stage. Right now, we are offering 2 services: one for the real estate industry, and the other one for the finishes solution industry. We were born in March of this year as a result of an investigation project of this university. The group was led by the Paulo Figueroa, who is not here today.
He's in Cartagena.
In Cartagena, yes, living the vida loca. We hold a research agreement with the Universidad de los Andes. So basically, the team of Imagine improve our developments so we can show them to the market in the short-term future. I'm Sergey. I'm the founder, and I'm only a founder. I'm the CEO. I consider myself an inventor and a businessman. I already have another company, which is a medium-sized company, and this is my second company. Okay, let me explain to you why ImagineX was born. So basically, when you are trying to buy a new living place, it's very difficult. The first problem is that the looking up process for very inefficient. spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to find the apartment or the house that fits your profile and your purchasing power. So you could say generally that the process is very inefficient. The second one is that there is a high degree of uncertainty in the purchase, in your purchase decision. If the living place or the house is not built, you will have to face a high degree of uncertainty because you cannot see what you are trying to buy. So this is the second problem that the industry has right now. And the third one is basically you cannot find easily information about your living place once you have bought it. It's very difficult to find on real time the construction as let's say the construction phase and the construction process of your living place, and so as to contact the real estate developer. So basically, the industry has forgotten about all about the post-sales process. So that's the reason why we developed HomeVR. It's the first modular service here in Colombia, which integrates and enables the sales processes of the real estate industry. And we use for that digital channels, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality. Okay, so I'm going to explain in detail each one of the modes of the HomeVR project service. So for the first process of prospecting our future clients, we develop a recommendation system. This is an algorithm that uses artificial intelligence, to recommend the most suitable living place based on the client's profile and his purchasing power. I'm going to do a demo here, so you can look in detail how it works. Please work. Okay, so basically what we do here is we collect data from the client and we, let's say that we convert that data to apartment. So if you are living with 3 persons and you are single, we'll recommend you an apartment with 3 rooms. If you have 1 car, we'll recommend you an apartment with 1 parking place. If you have 1 pet, we'll recommend you an apartment with a balcony or with big common areas. If you maybe live with a child or something like that, we'll recommend you an apartment that has a park or something like that. So what we basically do here is we collect the data, and we could also, based on your household income, calculate the mortgage rate that you are able to pay monthly. So once we run the algorithm, we will basically recommend you the most suitable apartment based on your futures and your purchasing power. The second model is what we call that's it. The second model is what we call the web tour. So once you have once the recommendation system has recommend you something, you will be able to tour on a digital environment the apartment. Let me show you how it works. And this is especially for the apartments that are not built up. For the ones that already are in the construction process, what the industry usually do is that they put the 360-degree photos. I don't know if you have seen this in the web page of several real estate developers. So basically here, what we do here, we do the digital design and digital renders of the apartments, where you can tour the common areas, surrounding areas, and also all the interior places of the apartment. This here. Then you will be able to see where the sun will light the apartment on the morning and on the afternoon, the project phase of the construction project, and also the completion date. So you can choose here your tower, you can choose your floor, you can choose the apartment, and finally you are able to tour it using your web page and from This works on mobile and also on PC, and you can see it furnished. Let me, there. Sorry, this mouse is terrible. We have to buy new computers. And you can see the site from the balcony and all this. Okay. So after, if you are interested in the apartment, then you will ask for a quotation, and the system will automatically send you the quotation to your email. So what we are trying to do here is to hook you up in the purchasing process, so you can go to a sales room and start the VR tour. That's our third model. Let me show you. I'm going to show you the video of the VR tour. I have the product here in my Oculus. If someone would like to see it after the presentation. So this happens at the sales room of the construction project. It's not the same apartment that we saw in the digital tour. It's another one. So you are able to see the surrounding areas. We usually do the whole process. We take the pictures and we integrate them in the whole service. So basically, what we can do here is we are increasing the efficiency of the purchasing process, because you don't have to go anymore to a location where the construction project will be built. You can practically go anywhere, and you can see how the common areas and all this will be seen in the future. Then again, you can choose the tower, you can choose the floor, and you will be able to see which floors and which apartments are already taken and which are free. So very easy, and it's very automatically. It's very automatic for the real estate developer. There you can change you can see it with furniture or without. And then one of our biggest advantages is that we can customize the finishes of the apartment. So we can change the floor, the type of the paint. We can do it in kits, or we can do it by single units, and we can show in real time the price that you are going to pay with all the modifications. And this is very collaborative. It's you can broadcast what the guy on the Oculus is seeing to a big TV. So if you come here with your family to purchase your apartment, all your family will be able to see what the guy on the Oculus is seeing. Once you have decided what you're going to buy, the system will automatically issue a purchase order. So with that, you will be able to purchase your apartment. That's when the purchase order is generated. And finally, once you have purchased your apartment, our last mode is what we call the app. So I'm going to show you also a video. I have it also in my cell phone if someone would like to see it after. So this is once you have bought your apartment, and it's for the post-sales process for the real estate developer. So what you are going to see, it's your purchase order with all the, let's say, the formalities that you need to accomplish in order to finish the process. You are going to see the construction phase and the construction advance of your living place, including videos or photos of each one of the stage of your future apartment. And as I told you, we do the whole process. So we take the photos, we take the videos, and everything. Then you can tour again on your cell phone the apartment that was customized on the virtual reality environment. So you can compare this with your future apartment. So you can see once the real estate developer has delivered your apartment, you can compare with your cell phone and say, hey, it's the same, or you miss something. And then finally, you can contact the real estate developer and share your purchase on your social networks. And that's something that didn't exist on the industry before us. Let me tell you about our business model. We charge a flat fee for each real estate. The fee is around $2,500 per month, and the expected lifetime of the contract is 24 months. What we usually do is we have our sales representative teams that look for our future prospects, and if we find a serious one, we offer them a free month, and then we start billing them recurrently. Right now, the market size just in Bogota, it's around 300 new construction projects. There are like 300 new construction projects just in Bogota, and in Latam around 5K, which means a market size of $150 million per year. One of the biggest differentiations between each one of these real estate developers are on the tech solution that are offered to a final client. This means, like, if you can integrate or enhance your sales process with the tech solution, that's a value proposal that's very unique and very different to differentiate yourself from the rest. The final version was released on August of this year. For now, we have 3 intention agreements. That means revenue close to $250,000 for the next year. And I traveled to the United States last week, and I closed 2 deals there in the United States with 2 real estate agents. So the company is growing very fast. For the next year, we are expected to have a revenue of about $500,000 in different contracts, including Panama and States. One of our biggest advantage of our process is the easy scalability process that we have incorporated in our value, in our chain value. And that's an investment that we're looking for if you are interested. So then that's it. Thank you. Any questions?
What are your guarantees to the customers about the match correspondence between what they see in the ad and what the actual built-out apartment?
Well, what we usually do is the real estate developer usually delivers us the floor plans, and based on that we do the whole design. And once we have it, we go back to the real estate developer, and basically what we ask is for her approval or his approval in order to put it on the web page or on the VR mode. So we could say that based on this approval of the real estate developer, we will have a very close approach to what will be delivered on the final.
So they might take the liability if they give you the warranty.
Yes, the liability will be on the real estate developer.
So another question: you showed views in the terrace.
Yes.
How did you get those?
Drones. We use drones. So once we are doing the whole design process and gathering the whole information, we send a drone, and what the drone do is takes some photos of one of the floors, of how you will see your site from each floor.
So you do separate drone photography.
Yes.
For every single floor.
We'll
correct altitude.
Yes.
Correct. Back to longitude.
Yes. So we don't usually do floor by floor, but like five floors we'll do for one floor.
If you do 5 floors, you're even off by 1 floor. There'll be certain inclusion relationships you're not going to capture. And so I might think I bought this beautiful 5th floor apartment with a wonderful view of whatever, and I get there and find out that if you were 3 floors up, you'd have a view whatever. Otherwise, there is something like a building that's blocking the thing I really want to see.
So that would seem to be something we want to worry about.
Okay.
Although simply taking, drug use from every single one of those positions and having to guarantee as to the actual position of the drug by using an RTK-GNSS, for example, could be easy to set up. It's not expensive.
Yes.
We have to do that.
I'll have to do it.
Clear or not clear?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's an important question because for whom are the producers? Of course, for better selling, this is one reason, but the one who buys things has also certain interests. And I think the interest that this what he buys is really what he sees.
Yes.
And not other things. And the other point is, I think, the control of the state of some building. Anybody who has built something knows that this is a very important process, that you have to do control in each stage. But if you are working for the real estate, and this is your money, then of course we will not consider so much the interest of the buyer. Because this is a conflict.
Yes.
The question is how to solve this.
Yes. Well,
From whom do you get your money?
I sell my money to I sell my product to real estate developers and to real estate agents, and
We know
obviously it could be an interest conflict because obviously they would like to have legal issues with the final client. While in the process of designing the living place, and then in the construction phase, if they deliver something different, obviously they will have some legal claims on that, and the liabilities will be on their side. So I cannot say I have to be fair because the real estate developer is paying me. So in the end, what you try to do is like get the approval of the real estate developer. So basically, all the liability, you will say that rests on their side, but it's not easy to do business.
For this one gets product. Somehow one has wanted to be fair to the consumer.
Yes.
And this is a kind of moral obligation that we have to try to be fair to the one who uses this product to buy, to make this decision. And if you are just better seller, like in Hansen, as a real estate seller, then it's a nice place. Something is missing there. So there is a niche there which could be used to do another product, and maybe the consumer will be the other one.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
And of course, you are a very young company, but what are your expectations about the relationship with the Imagine or another research group?
For the next year, what we have within our contract, so I have to comply with that. We're going to pay 2 tuitions for the program Quiero Investigar, to the master's degree program here to the group of Paulo Figueroa. Sorry to use. So we'll have to pay 2 tuitions to that program, and after that we'll pay a loyalty of 5% of our gross revenue. So that's out of money. I expect. I hope so.
Okay, and which the result, your expected result of this effort that you are doing to pay these tuitions?
You're trying to say when I will pay?
What do you are expecting as result?
Okay. So basically, what the guys or that we are paying the tuitions should do, it's improve our future development. So what we did here with the university at this year, the Fabian Medina, who is not here, it's the one who got the benefits from our program. And he developed a new kind of development called multi-textura, or something like called multi-texture. So basically, you don't have to do the whole render of the whole image. You just do like a basic one, and then if you want to change like the colors, like you see of the walls and of the floors, you don't have to do the whole render. You just put the new textures and the new colors inside of the first or the original image, and then it will work. So you don't have to spend so much time working on the renders again and again. And that's if you could measure that on productivity, it's a huge improvement, because we spend with the conventional method, we spend 3 to 4 hours doing one render, and with this new multi-texture method, we spend like 15 minutes. So it's a huge improvement in productivity. So that's the approach we would like to have with for the next year.
The innovation for the products
Yes.
will be produced here.
Yes.
But do the company do the integration in the product, the final products, or?
Yes. What we usually do, it's we gave the Imagine group like the big focus of the business, and we gave them like some key parameters to develop these new products or improvements to our developments. And then the Imagine group deliver us with the final product, and we integrate that in our commercial product to offer to the market.
What is considered Tiberio? What happens with intellectual property?
You mean in the contract with no, the intellectual property is mine. Yeah, so I have to pay a royalty, and that's the reason why the intellectual property it's on my side.
It's interesting, and I am asking this kind of question because it's an effort that we are doing to do a formal agreement with some royalties that we define in advance, taking both of us a risk of these developments. But I think that is the kind of things that we should think about. Not necessarily is perfect, but I am very happy with this experience that we are doing in Martinez. And why not? It's a little bit simple innovation, but concrete in order to put some added value in the market.
I have some questions. When you work with Imagine Group, what do you pay, for example, if you need a master for 6 months for computation to improve your software? Do you pay the master student and more the environment, because the master has supervisors and there is things here and does the master works here or in your company?
Okay, so I have to say that first I hired a PhD student for my company. The PhD student was from Samsung University and from this group, Diego Rodriguez. I don't know if you.
It's very interesting that the PhD alumni, as Diego Angulo is the head in the Imagine, the first company, IMEX, the medical imaging company. And Diego Rodriguez is
my
CTO.
Yes, my senior
technical partner, the senior.
My senior. But to answer your question, the contract, the first step of the contract establishes that I have to pay a full tuition without any extra payments from payments to the university, and the student will work like I would say 30 hours per month, something like that, to improve our development here in the university. And it's a kind of a great experience because what we're trying to do is to build in these guys a professional career. So they start working here on the investigation project, and then I would like him to go to work to my company because he already knows all about my market problems and all this.
I'm not sure if I understood it. That means that when you pay for the PhD,
No, I pay this year. I paid for a full tuition, a master tuition for this. Yes.
And excuse me, the professor don't receive any
extra payments.
I want, it's not maybe not the professor, but for the lab, for the group.
No,
the potential royalties they will be for the group and for the professor.
In this early stage, because my company was born until this year. So what we agree is that I only pay for a full tuition this year. The next year, in 2019, I will pay 2 tuitions, and after that, I will pay 5% of my total gross revenue, and that will cover the lab expenses and theory anyway.
I have seen it before.
Yes.
You can do one real-world use solution.
Sorry?
Today, real-world use this solution.
Yes.
Okay, so you know how this increase the deliveries versus the real pushes. I mean, this is a good solution, but I think that maybe this could be just increase the number of people that just go to the project and see the project and not pushes.
Okay.
Because it's a fancy solution. And so my question is, do you know in terms of data, how many people with this solution increase?
Yes, the revenues. Yes. So basically, we start our first contract with our first real estate developer just on August. So we haven't measured that data with accuracy, but one of the most added values of our service is that we you saw on the recommendation system, we prospect and we do the prospect process is highly accurate because we are recommending you an apartment that you can afford, and it's based on your needs. So if you need an apartment of several rooms and a several vehicle place and all this, we are recommending you that, and it's based on your purchasing power. So that's a very accurate process of segmentation and prospectation, and that helps a lot the real estate developer in the closing process of the sale. I don't know if you understand, but we have measured yet with accuracy the data of how much will improve the revenue or the sales. Yeah.
You have a business class for the investment. This is the last one on investment.
Yes, it was for yes, we are. What we are going to do is we are going to invest that money. We are asking for $600,000, $600,000, and we will invest this money to open our youth branch because we already have business there. We are going to focus some of this money on develop products to similar industries that are facing the same problems that the real estate developers, like the auto or the apparel industry. And we are also planning to increase the developer and sales representative teams. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. As I said at the beginning, we are the first stage of an agreement with Accenture company. And before to talk about this, in the last the 3 PhD alumni, Diego and Alejandro, they are involved in this kind of different stage of new companies that are trying to be based in visual computing to put another value in medical imaging, in real estate, in virtual reality, or some realistic interaction, and in the urban system management plan, not planning, but more administration.
It's more administrative in order to manage all the information, all the legal information of the buildings, for example, for here in Andes, or for a development plan that is executing the new in Andes here in the surrounding areas.
The multi-building is not but a multi-building campus of companies, and how to manage the use and the maintenance of the campus of different buildings. Or one company has one university that has a lot of different buildings, but for example, some company has different buildings in different sectors of the city, and they manage to know how is used these facilities. It's not easy, and they are your first client as almost happy with your first prototype.
First application, first product.
First product. Okay. Now this experience that we are conducting with Accenture is a little bit exotic, but I am very optimistic in this one, because Accenture as a multinational, they will play a role of facilitator of innovation with new technologies and new innovation in big companies. As Ecopetrol, Bavaria is a big brasserie here, brewery here, or Avianca, the airline. So this kind of big size in the local scale, big size companies, and they put professional in these companies in order to understand and to read and to rewrite the needs of these companies for the next for the introduction of innovation using high-tech computing techniques, and they in the classical way, they build their demonstration facilities and the innovation prototype development groups inside the company, in order to show to the companies the possibilities of the new things, in order to change the digital transformation of the big companies, etc. And I propose to the CIO here for the north of South America to think about why not Imagine and Colibri, our facilities here. We can roll this. We can play this role of prototyping the innovation for the big companies here, because we have now the capacity to read these needs and the roadmaps of the companies, and why not we can produce some value, added value, using our capacities and our applied research in order to produce some proof of concepts of innovation in short times, in order to show to the companies the possibilities to work together. And some of this fast prototyping work can be do in-house here or in the second step, basically these prototypes can be developed for these new companies that are around the imagining in order to do the product engineering to go to the market with the companies, with the small companies, not the small necessarily, but the new companies that has high-tech based, local installed, and global market oriented is our profile, and we can play this role of furnish the proposal, the new prototypes, and the new companies to develop the final products with the clients that is the next scale of the market. And they are supported. Accenture is in this first step support one graduate students half time or full tuition, half time dedication to establish this communication with the different teams of Accenture and with the different areas in our team in order to reuse our new prototypes and new proposal in order to have the package to show to in the first step to the board of the Accenture consultants, and after by branch to invite, for example, the retail sector to see, for example, the proposal that the Journalexis team are doing to the new visual analytics tools oriented to this sector, or to the virtual reality for new user experience for the consumers sector of the drinks and so on, or the maintenance, the augmented reality examples to show to the airlines maintenance challenge how to work together in order to. And we are just beginning. We began 3 months ago. We are not final results, but I think that is another model with another trial to work with this facilitator. It's an intermediary. But they have the resources to read the market. We have maybe the resource to do new proposal to this innovation process in the market. It's not fundamental research, but life is hard, and we need to go to the next step, because we need to find these kind of models, as I said before, because, for example, our lab, only the gadgets in the lab, we need $100,000 per year of new investment every year. To this kind of investment ratio, we need the new resources and the new projects every year, and it's not with the government agencies, and happily that we will have this stability that we need. For example, I can't imagine the investment every year that the big labs and virtual reality as Carolina Lab need to be world class labs, but we know very well our needs to be almost world-class lab, and my almost optimism in this Accenture model, or this Accenture is one actor, is interesting because can do a connection. We can help to build connection with the big companies, the big companies with the high-tech based, local high-tech based, local installed, global market oriented companies here. And we can contribute to feed this ecosystem that is not very dynamic or not very easy to build here. I have not concrete results, not yet. We have only visited. The professor are tired to do the demo for one company, for another company, for another company, and we begin to be conscient of the cost of the pre-sales, preventa, but it's a cost, and nobody paid for. And we spend in the lab at least I don't know 4 or 6 hours per week in the systematic way for demos and to show to the people, but it's in this effort to find the models and to find the new. Don't fall in the service software house, but it's not our role. But how to have in the near future prototyping of innovation in the industrial sector. Maybe is one role that we can have outside, and of course to continue to seek for funding for more fundamental research. But we need to survive to have this kind of meeting in 10 years or the 30 years of Imagine. I expect that the team will be alive. Okay, it's only my anguish to share with you. Los borrachos, los niños y los locos siempre decimos la verdad. Someone can translate? Okay, the next part of the morning, in my naive approach, I propose that to share about the European ideas in France, in Germany, to use in the very good sense of work your presence and your experience here. I put in the program Federica, Hans, I think, but of course Isabel and Dick feel you invited to participate and to maybe to say no, it's not in this way, it's another way, because we need this diversity to find and to if you do some reference of which kind of role you can imagine that we can play with you in other context, but it's your context and it's not our context. And look, I propose that the European experience, some US experience, of course, using the presence of Professor Feiner and Professor Cruz-Neira. And but please feel free is in this way to think about and how to this kind of companies, the small companies, the big companies, because it's not the companies. Each we have a different It's a very complex ecosystem with different needs and different thoughts. And, I have not a philosophical approach to the problem. I have the problem. So please help us. I don't know if the editor thanks. No. And after we have the coffee break.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to say a few words. And this is kind of personal, my personal experience for now over 30 years. So I'm unfortunately 65 years old, and then I was in a situation 30 years ago where it's like some of you young people are right now in your beginning 30s, and you want to, there's the question, what do you do in your life? You know, you want to stay in academia, professor, or you want to run your own company? And that was a little bit of very complicated questions. And I'm still not convinced that I made the right decision. And whatever. Okay. Then the attitude in Germany changed quite a bit towards to support young people with spin-offs. So we have kind of on the European market, European community offers some kind of support to the German government and the Federal Republic on the state levels. There are certain initiatives, and it's normally a foundation which gives you some support to get started. And a lot of my students did it, and two didn't make it, and the rest were successful. But there is always one thing which was a problem from the very beginning. It's natural and it's human that you believe in your capabilities, you have an idea, you have a good product, you know, but that's not all. And if you have a background in engineering, mathematics, and in computer science, normally you are not very familiar with other things from economy, and, because you cannot be a genius, you cannot know everything when you are 30 years old. It's just impossible. And so it happens quite often that we see companies have problems to find the right investor, you know, to have the right marketing strategy to be on the market. And that's a different field. So that's you have to learn and whatever. So the most successful spin-offs out of our group were people who left the university, worked for a while in the company, and got some experience, positive and more important negative ones, to learn what you should not do. And then they started their own company. And that was always a winner. But there are other examples who did not get along in big companies. Okay, I can badmouth Volkswagen here, for example, and then look from outside, or with our projects with them, you know, if that's what we don't want to do, we don't want to end up with this, you know, we start our spin-off from scratch, you know. That is sometimes more personal question. The other thing is, from the university level, you can only help to some extent. Because I consider it a mistake to turn a university into a kind of a company, or to believe that the development department of a spin-off is the same as your research group at the university. That's not the case. So our solution is, you know, we look at the application area, we filter out some basic research problems, we solve this, and make sure that we have a feedback loop in the company. That's what we could do. And well, what else can I tell you? I think it's always a good idea to make your own mistakes, but that's a personal thing. So, stay in academia, you are a free man. You run your own company, you are a free man. I'm not convinced that you join Google, Microsoft, or something like this, you know, and you're a little wheel in a huge kind of engine. And it depends on you what kind of freedom you want to live with, you know. But this is a very personal impression, you know. That is. And it's up to the personalities. Well, I just ask me whatever you want to ask. Most likely I cannot answer your questions. But just in case I can, I try to do it, you know. So it's, I may ask the young people who started their company, does it make sense what I told you, or is it complete nonsense? Diego, I know you. So what is your experience? Is that right when you start off a company? Is it different in Latin America than in Europe? So what do you think?
I think it's hard. Of course. Yeah, the relationship with the university is always tricky.
Yeah.
I think the money thing is very tricky because universities think companies have a lot of money, but it's not the truth.
Yeah.
They're always struggling for getting money, and it's always gets tricky. Also, intellectual property is always a challenge. For example, at our company, our legal department is very like strict, and they stop a lot of projects because oh no, but this is going to be tricky in the legal sense. So it's very slow, and that's also very frustrating to get things going. I don't know. I want to ask you, Hans, what do you think about students who don't finish PhDs because they go to the companies or things like that? Is that a problem or?
That happened quite often in my life. That a student said, okay, I'm the brilliant student, and he or she quit and said, okay, I don't want to finish up my PhD because I have a good idea and I want to be successful and start my spin off my own company. Well, this is something where I always look a little bit puzzled and tell him or her, well, it's your risk, but I'm going to support you as the best way I can.
Okay.
But I don't have a single example in my group that these people are not successful. If a person makes this hard decision to stop his or her PhD, to have an idea and to run a company or a startup, in our case, it's not a general one, more like cases, but it always worked. So nobody came back, well, it didn't work out, I'm going to finish my PhD. But there's one thing, at least in Germany or maybe in Europe, you tried something and it didn't work out. Then that is considered negative. You do it the second time, it doesn't work out. You are considered a loser. I spent part of my life in the United States, and there it's totally different. I have had a former student, he crashed 2 spin-off freely, he did it full speed, against the wall. And in the meantime, he's a multi-millionaire. So the third attempt worked out. In Germany, after 2 crashes, no bank would have given you any money anymore to do it again. I don't know what's like in Colombia and in Latin America.
People are also very adverse to risk. So people are very conservative.
That's
the university is also, for example, here they give you money for PhD, given that you finish. If you don't finish your PhD, you have to give the money back. So I think that stops a lot of things.
I said so, kind of a good idea. No, that's not in my group, but I'm going to think about that. Diego, I'll talk to you later about this. I like it.
I think that's a problem. Like, nobody wants to take the risk. Everyone wants to start the risk to get student.
Yeah. And what you not should do as a professor, to interfere with the business in that context, because it's, you have your job and they do your job, and as a professor you should support, and not try to tell the people who run the company what to do, So
sure, yeah, that's true.
And you wouldn't listen to the guy anyway, right, Diego? Please ask me something. Currently, you don't have to.
And I have.
Now, you finished your PhD before you started your company.
It was more or less at the same time.
Yeah.
But one difficult thing here is on the management part, because when we are engineers, always we focus on the technical part. The management is one important thing. So my advice is the first thing that you have to do is to contract an accountant. Because for the taxes and all the legal procedures, you can spend many money if you don't have the legal advice in the proper time. So we make that mistake. But right now we have an accountant, but we have to pay many taxes, many obligations, and additional obligations, because we didn't. And that was our first issue. But for the technical part, it's
Just there's one impression I had, or when people started in a new company. For example, I was from the very beginning supporting the TechMod idea in Germany, a very successful spin-off. In the meantime, they branched into different directions. Also, they came up with simulation of a crash dummy. So that kind of, at that time, it's now 25, 30 years ago, crash tests in Germany were done that they used dead pigs or whatever and then put it into cars, to crash the cars against the wall or airplane parts, and then had some pictures taken and videos taken and try to optimize things. And what we did there was to come up with a kind of a model, and then we did some muscle development of that. And then once the beginning was very interesting from a scientific point of view. And then it reached a certain level, and then there's a difference between doing research, and doing developments, because the goals in the developments are different. Then to come up with, okay, we had a simulation model, it was kind of geometric modeling tools involved, B-spline surfaces, B-spline volumes, and try to come up with the governing equations to describe the whole thing, and we were very successful. The model is still there. It's standard in industry. But then you reach a level, and then the research to some extent is done from an academic point of view, and then the development that totally takes over. It's different goals, and different strategies. And for me personally, that was always kind of, okay, that's now a level, I stop. Because I cannot do this, because I'm not aware of these goals which are not taking over. It's my position to goals that far, and then development dominates with other goals, with other important facts coming up, than in academic institution. It's reaching its limit. But this is my personal impression. Maybe you have a different one, but that's what I'm saying.
And speaking of that relationship between the university and the industry, are trying there to develop this model in which kind of one of the relationships we establish is like, okay, we try to find share or share, and then you hire like a grad student in here or something like that. Do you guys use a similar model, or how do you reach like the industry? What do you propose to them? Like, what are their obligations?
So I always talk very openly to industry and have a disclosure agreement. I cannot talk about the details, And then I sit there and for a long time and fill out the basic research problems. And the basic research problems are so general that these students don't have to sign the same disclosure agreement, because they don't know the insights of what's going on with the company. Once you have filled out the basic research problem, that is very general. The algorithms, the method you develop, you can use in other parts. Well, that's it. And that's for us, it's a cut to make sure that the company trusts you, because you cannot spin-off cannot be totally open about their strategies and what they're going to do. And each student knows this, because a student can sign a disclosure agreement, and then he or she takes off to another part of the world, What can you do? The knowledge is out, you don't take them responsible. That's a pretty conservative tool. I would like to tell you that work. Make sure that you have kind of a firewall or kind of something where the knowledge is not jumping over. So
but in that sense, is the company just giving out the money, and the university and your group has all the freedom to decide how to spend it, if it is for...
So we have for example, a very special project. Let's say it's the following. So we have a kind of a wall model in the car part, the start has to be kind of remodeled, and it has to make sure that it fulfills certain functionalities. Okay, so what we do is the company will say, okay, this you develop a kind of a new B-spline strategy, to make sure that the product fulfills not only that's nice and looking, but it's very solid, for example. And then you tell the students, okay, you need to develop a surface, which is kind of very solid, very under certain kind of pressure, under certain kind of a vector field operating on the surface. And that's the job what the student has to do, What the company do with that, once they have this algorithm, how they change the outer code with that, the student doesn't know. And he or she should not know. What normally happens that the company would hire the student, then it's a different story, And he or she is part of the company automatically. This in the situation. But I think that's all done over Europe, Want to ask you, Frederick, you probably operate the same way, Or is there anything different you do in France?
Yes, in fact,
so my group has some long-term relationship with industry, more than 20 years, because of two reasons. First of all, because we are part of an engineering school, so it's beneficial for our students to be involved in contract with industry. And the second reason is, of course, to get money to do research, because there are less investment from the state, the government, so we need such revenue to do research. And usually when we talk with industrial partnership, we propose them a different package. And one typical package is what you said is we have a project under this umbrella, of course, under this umbrella we can involve the students to work on a specific part of the project. But it's not, the firm is not responsible of the project, of course. There is always an academic and an engineer to be in charge of the project. And that will be a tool for of work, of final work. And in my group, that is one reason that in my group we have a pool of engineers in order to be able to manage this relationship. Because usually we don't have, sometimes we don't have basic research. Well, sometimes just development for 1 year or for 6 months. And usually this development goes to some basic research in the second step. But for the first approach, usually it's just technological development. So we need engineers to be responsible, to be in charge of this relationship. And of course, we need money to pay the engineer. So it's, for me, it's like a Lego puzzle, complex puzzle. You need all these elements in order to have this full organization. And for me, it's a good cycle because we have we push for the technology to help our industrial partnership get the technology, usually with engineers and with students in back office to the work. After that, usually the company said, okay, probably there is a basic research to do of deep program, deeper things to develop, and they come back to us for a PhD program and so on. So it's a long-term cycles, and usually when we have a relationship with the industry, it's for 4, 5, 6 years, and we have contracts and contracts again, and we know each other. There are some knowledge exchange between industry and academic, of course, and at the end we are able to design all this work together between industry and academic. So it's like it's quite hard to do because you need time, in fact, and you need to be in confidence with partners. And so it's a long term. So we need human to human relationship as well. It's very important to construct this relationship.
So there are two other aspects I want to mention. First of all, okay, this is very individual. So we don't, in our group, don't own any patents. So we don't patent anything. But on the other side, we don't maintain the software, so we don't take responsibility for the maintenance part. Well, it normally goes, for example, German example, a problem comes up with BMW, and BMW gives this kind of problem or has a spin-off to do it, and then the spin-off filters out the basic research problem and it reduces this. And then the parent is either with BMW or whatever the other company is. BMW is just its 100 and Mercedes the same thing. Then they own the parent, or spin-off owns the parent, and spin-off takes over the maintenance part, things we don't do at the university. Because if they do the maintenance part in German university, at least in our university, that would be considered illegal. That's not your job. There are universities all over the world handle different. Some universities own patterns. In the United States, it's the case. In some German universities too. I'm pretty sure in France it's the same thing. That really varies a lot. So we don't own any patterns. For two reasons. If you have a pattern, I think the maintenance question comes out more or less automatically. And I don't believe in pattern of software, because I saw it's so easy to work around that. So mechanical engineering colleagues at my university, they own a lot of patents, because they have a different point of view, and some civil engineers. And even as I hired a new person in mechanical engineering, and you see some questions, they had 3 candidates being very equal and very good. So I took the person who had 2 patents, and the other 2 didn't have any. So that really depends on the field. In engineering, with my knowledge in Germany, it's different. And in the computer science departments, it's kind of spread. So, but this is a personal thing. You knock your head, they probably know that problem. So may I ask you, do you own the patents? I don't.
Usually, yes, when we develop some patents, it doesn't overlap through the company.
Yeah.
And we just are internals.
I don't have any knowledge about your legal situation. How do you do it?
I think that before I have a question. Who pay the engineering team than you got?
Contract. So
it's under contract.
Yeah.
Not the engineer is part of the contract with the enterprise. It's not in the general budget of the school.
Same in our
place. Private fees, private money. It's inside that.
But it's the continuity of the engineering team that is important in this case. So we suffer a lot of the rotation of the students because sometimes a very good piece of software are lost because the students are rotating too much frequently, and it's normal, it's natural. And the professor not necessarily we have the capacity to have all the mastering of all the pieces of software, and I think that the dissipation of people is true, and we have not necessarily or maybe with a more smart method that I have not to have a long-term software reserve or reserve volume, to be more solid in this capital, because it's a capital that we build.
Yeah.
But we lost very frequently. It's a very good idea to reuse this piece of software, and I think the most of case is easier to rebuild, but it's we arrive almost at the same level, or maybe a little bit upper, but we're making the cycle. And it's a cycle that is not very efficient.
We have to keep this knowledge in
We
our
have a lot of
case.
satisfaction, but not a lot of products.
Now we have a knowledge transfer to a Fraunhofer Institute. In Passau, we have the Fraunhofer Institutes attached with university labs and so on. And there's a knowledge, and normally people go there, and then the technicians or software engineers have a permanent position there. And that's what you could do too. But that depends on the country. But what you tell me is absolutely true, and that for me the person's solution is do as much as you can through your spin-offs. because then people have better contracts there, you know, and kind of. And in Germany, we have technicians and software engineers on a permanent position at the university to keep things going, and it would be considered highly illegal to use such a person, you know, for industry contracts. That is something which is I know it's done, but I keep my fingers off this. You know, that is something that's a little bit. I think that's illegal.
Thank you very much.
I know after we can go to the coffee break, maybe. We needed the coffee. And we just come back to have the last part of the